What is up, everybody? Piscean here. And in this video, I want to talk about war and global conflict and how advanced astrology ties into these things. But before we get started with peace and love, I'd appreciate if you subscribe, like, comment, and share if you dare and care with peace and love. This is the belligerent spiral. So, this treatise treats war not as a moral failure, but as a celestial pressure release, a predictable, measurable phenomenon arising from specific planetary configurations. It offers no justification, only rigor. The goal is prediction, mitigation, and, where possible, prevention through collective ritual. The astrology of collective violence. War is the tense-degree collapse of the international order. The sudden failure of the structures, treaties, alliances, economies that normally hold conflict in check. Astrologically, this collapse occurs when three conditions converge. A malefic planetary cycle, Saturn, Mars, Pluto, Aries, reaches a critical phase. A national chart of a nation, empire, or city experiences a primary direction or solar arc to a malefic point. A collective consciousness threshold, Sagittarius index, helical drift is crossed, making populations receptive to fear and aggression. This treatise catalogs the signatures, cycles, and case studies of war, from the Peloponnesian War to the present, with original faculty concepts and predictive protocols. Let's begin by talking about the malefic planetary cycles of war. So first, we're going to go over Saturn-Pluto cycle, 33 through 38 years. So, every 33 through 38 years, Saturn and Pluto form a series of hard aspects: conjunction, opposition, square. These align with the outbreak of major wars, not every war, but the ones that redraw borders and reset global order. The mechanism: Saturn equals structure, limits, authority. Pluto equals death, transformation, buried power. Their hard aspect means the existing order, Saturn, must die. Pluto. War is the midwife. Alright? And now I'll be going over historical alignments. We see 1914 through 1918, we have WW1. Saturn opposite Pluto, exact July 1914. The old empires, Austro-Hungarian, Ottoman, Russian, died. 1939 through 1945, WW2. Saturn square Pluto, zigzag 1939 through 1940. The Treaty of Versailles, Saturn collapsed into fascism, Pluto. 2001 through 2003, Afghanistan, Iraq. Saturn opposite Pluto, exact August 2001, 1 month before 9/11. The post-Cold War order died. And 2020 through 2024, Ukraine, Gaza, Sudan. Saturn square Pluto, exact January 2020, first of three. The post-9/11 order dying. Here's our predictive window. War risk is high 6 months before to 6 months after the exact aspect. Faculty Saturn-Pluto war clock is now a standard tool. So let's talk about the Mars-Uranus cycle, 2 through 3 years with spikes. So Mars is action, aggression, and blood. Uranus is sudden rupture, rebellion, the unexpected. Their conjunction, square, or opposition produces lightning wars, sudden invasions, coups, terrorist attacks, technological surprises. When we see 1939, invasion of Poland, Mars conjunct Uranus, exact September 1st, 1939, day of invasion. 1941, Operation Barbarossa, Mars square Uranus, exact June 22nd, 1941. 1973, Yom Kippur War, Mars opposite Uranus, exact October 6, 1973. 2003, invasion of Iraq, Mars conjunct Uranus, exact March 20th, 2003, shock and awe. And 2022, invasion of Ukraine. Alright, Mars square Uranus, exact February 24th, 2022, invasion day. And our predictive window, 3 days before to 3 days after the exact aspect. The 72-hour war window is now faculty protocol for alerting defense analysts. Faculty is a confidential channel. Alright. The Aries-Saturn cycle, 14 years, new faculty discovery. So Aries, the discordant sister, goddess of strife, aligns with Saturn every 14 years, opposition or conjunction. These align with wars of unmasking, conflicts that expose hidden corruption, genocide, or systemic rot. 1992 through 1995, we saw the Bosnian War, Aries opposite Saturn, the unmasking of ethnic cleansing. 2006, Iraq Civil War peak, Aries square Saturn, the unmasking of Abu Ghraib, and sectarian violence. 2020 through 2024, global rise of authoritarianism and war crimes, Aries conjunct Saturn exact in December 2020, the unmasking of war crimes in Ukraine, Sudan, and Gaza. So Aries transits are slow, being 6 through 12 months. War risk is elevated for the entire period with spikes at exact aspects. Alright? So let's talk about the helical drift and generational war. 1 degrees per 72 years. This is our original faculty concept. Second spiral, the helical drift. The 1 degrees per 72 years precession of the vernal point relative to the galactic center, which is 27 degrees Sagittarius. Every 72 years, the drift moves 1 degrees, activating a new fixed star, or a sensitive point. War erupts when the drift aligns with the malefic fixed star in the chart of a major power. So we see our case study is a 72-year war rhythm. 1776, we had the American Revolution. Drift at 27 degrees Sag, galactic center itself, a war of origin. 1848, European revolutions, drift at 28 degrees Sag, wars of nationalism. 1914, WW1, drift at 29 degrees Sag, anaretic degree, war of imperial collapse. 1989 through 1991, fall of USSR, drift at 0 degrees Capricorn, expansion factor, war of ideology. Cold War ended without major combat, but the drift produced the collapse of a superpower, which is a form of structural war. So the next major drift alignment is at 1 degrees Capricorn around 2060. Faculty predicts a war over Arctic resources as the ice melts and new borders are drawn. Let's talk about national charts and war signatures. So the U.S., the Wounded Eagle, all right? I've talked about the U.S. a few times, but this is us using the rectified chart. July 4th, 1776, 12 o'clock noon, but we'll say 2:13 p.m. to be exact. Philadelphia, excuse me. So, we see the U.S. has Sun, 13 degrees Cancer, nurturing empire, the mother of democracy. Moon at 23 degrees Aquarius, revolutionary collective. Ascendant 12 degrees Libra, diplomatic face, but Mars 20 degrees Gemini, dual nature warfare, conventional and asymmetric. Pluto 27 degrees Capricorn, anaretic, which, by the way, it's not. Sorry about that. But it is hidden power structures, Pluto and Capricorn, and they get revealed pretty quick. So, war signatures in the U.S. chart. We see our SA Pluto to the ascendant, which is our solar arc. Every major U.S. war, 1812, Civil War, WW1, WW2, Korea, Vietnam, Iraq, Afghanistan, occurred within 1 degrees of a solar arc Pluto aspect to the ascendant or midheaven. The Pluto ascendant arc is the wounding of the national identity. In our primary direction, Mars to the 8th house cusp, war deaths. The Civil War, Mars at 20 degrees Gemini directed to 8th cusp at 22 degrees Gemini, exact through 1861 through 1865. Vietnam had a similar arc.